All right, Bill, give us your take, though, on what happened with Dallas Eakins. Was he over his head? What?
Let's start at the beginning. First of all, Craig McTavish and Kevin Lowe went gaga over Dallas Eakins. He was not a good coach. He is not a good coach today. And it was a bad hiring. I feel badly for Dallas that he was in that position. But the sooner they get rid of him, the sooner they'll turn that team around. And that isn't out of any disrespect. So that's the facts of the case. One of the great samples of media selling a guy to the rest of the country was the media in Toronto selling Dallas Eakins because he coached an American Hockey League team loaded with veteran players to an AHL semifinal. I mean, it was ludicrous. It was sad. And Dallas, you know, he's got 2.5 years left, and good for him. I'm happy for him, but I never considered him a good coach.
But I think that the inflection runs deeper. I mean, I agree with everything you said, that he still hadn't made his bones to be an NHL first string coach. But I think McTavish has never been successful in his roles in management. And I think if I was Daryl Katz, I would clean shop. I'd get rid of everybody.
So would I. But anyway, let me put it this way, guys. You think about this. Dallas Eakins went out there to interview for the assistant coach's job. Was it Kruger? Ralph Kruger, is it?
Yep, who's no longer there now. He
was in Europe. I believe he was on vacation or he was scouting or something. They called him by Skype. Dallas Eakins impressed McTavish so much that he did it on Skype and fired Kruger by Skype.
That should have been your first sign of what was coming.
Oh, Billy, absolutely right.
Yeah. You know, you see, so you guys just made my case in point. I've never been impressed with McTavish as a leader, as a coach, or anything that he's done in management. And, you know, that team for the last 4 or 5 years has been in distress, and it's time to gut the house.
It's 9 years since they made a playoff.
Well, you know, it's sad because the Edmonton Oilers were an incredible dynasty under the tutelage of a very strange dude, Peter Parkington. So, I'm just telling you right now that it's time for the owner, who's a very smart man, very bright guy. I know Mr. Katz. He's very smart to change the plumbing.
Well, he's going to have to get rid of Kevin Lowe because he implicitly believes in Kevin Lowe. Kevin Lowe implicitly believes in Craig McTavish, who's never been a GM before. The first coach he hires.
Yeah, okay, so that's why they're going to get rid of everybody. And I don't give a care about implicitly. Business is business, and Phil Esposito can give you a huge scenario of how many people who have believed in people implicitly or looked into the camera and the press and say, his job, as long as I'm the owner of this team, is safe. And then they fire the fucking guy the next day.
Oh, boy, isn't that the truth? That's a kiss of death when you say...
Yeah, it's like a fucking guy, a Sicilian saying, I love you, and kissing you on the lips. You might as well fucking check out of your house, leave your jewelry, and disappear.
Because you're a fucking man. As a player, it was always a joke when the manager would say to the guy, you should, think about buying a house. You're going to be here for a while. I did it.
There'd be a moving truck in front of the fucking rink. I just tell you, business is business, and I don't care how close people are. They fire people. Everybody gets fired.
Yep.
Everybody gets fired.
Sooner or later in this game. Well, Billy, you and I talked about this. You really are hired to be fired.
Oh, and especially as a coach. I mean,
or a manager too, for that matter.
Yeah, but when you're a coach, Phil, right? Everything is on your back, right? You're the guy. You're the driver. The driver. The Ferraris. You know when the driver doesn't win, they don't blame the fucking mechanics. They don't blame the fucking tire manufacturer.
Oh, they blame the driver. But you know what, Frankie? As a coach, as a player, you've got a lot of control in the game. As a coach, you've got some control in the game. As a manager, you got no control over the game.
You have control over your lineup, Phil, but if you don't have the coach that you thought you had, you have no control over the game.
That's what I'm saying. Absolutely.
I mean, this guy, like I said, he got hoodwinked, got him fired. If the Toronto media fell in love with Dallas Eakins, then Craig McTavish absolutely went crazy over the guy. So obviously there's something likable.
No, but that's going to be a negative legacy for him, buddy. Exactly what Phil said, that the guy got rid of a guy on Skype because he was impressed and he went through a gut feel.
And I just think he got rid of him because he was a new guy on the job, and that was going to be his guy he was going to put in place. And instead of leaving the guy who was there, who may have been good enough, but Craig McTavish had to make a bold statement.
That's right, because he was new.
You're right. Every new guy coming in there, he has the option of, and Frank, this is business. New guy comes in there, you leave the same people there, or you bring in your own people.
That's a good rationale. That's a good analogy, Perry. I agree with you. But that's going to be his kiss of death. Because I'm going to tell you right now, you're never remembered for the great things you do. You could do somebody a billion favors. You fucking miss one, you're a piece of shit. You're a schmuck. So I'm telling you, he's not going to be remembered for anything good that he's done, which he hasn't done anything good. He's going to be remembered for the big fucking dodo egg that he just laid, where he hired a guy where the other guy probably could have done something, they'll never know, and fired him while he was away in Europe because he was impressed by an interview. Okay?
And there's a question, and there's Daryl Katz, who's probably going to gut this team. If he had the chance to get Babcock, would he do it?
I'm going to tell you right now, I think, and I could be wrong, I think Mr. Babcock's come to Toronto. I think that there's an incredible relationship between Shanahan and Mr. Babcock, and plus there's,
no way Babcock's going to go to Edmonton, okay?
That's the logical thinking. I'm just putting it out there.
No, because Edmonton's not going to pay him $4 or $5 million.
He's going to Edmonton. Edmonton has to be concerned. If they get the first pick overall, and this kid, Connor McDavid's a lovely young man, but there is going to be a thought go through his mind. I don't want to go there.
Without a doubt, Bill.
Yeah, and they're going to be forced into trading their first pick and be humiliated.
Aren't they going to deal it anyway? Like, what's the point?
Guys, we're getting ahead of ourselves. First thing that the Edmonton Oilers need to do is to gut management. They need to gut the management.
Frank,
there's good engineers.
When you fire your coach, you are putting yourself out there now.
Yeah, he's out there now. If he goes in as coach, or whoever, if Todd Nelson, if this team turns around, then that only amplifies the error he made in selecting Eakins.
That's my point exactly. Bingo. He's damned if he does, and damned if he doesn't.
That's exactly right.
And it's a fucking horrible position to be when you're in power. When you're in power, it's horrible because a good leader will go down with the ship, and then when a leader is successful, it's because of everybody else.
I'm curious about the situation with McTavish, who's been a head coach before, is almost divorcing himself from the situation right now.
He's trying to wash his hands, like Pontius Pilate, and he's not going to, because his conundrum is going to be, he's the guy who got rid of the other coach to go with this guy who was going to be an assistant coach. And I believe that Destiny, he would have been a great assistant coach. But he was not the captain in command of the ship. And the ship hit a major embankment of sand, and just, like, it's disgusting. And Edmonton is a small market. It's very tough to make money in Edmonton.
Yeah.
But it's very, very tough. There's very few teams that get the TV deal that the Toronto Maple Leafs get.
None.
No team does.
What about the Rangers? When the Rangers get a deal like that, they're one of them. But
okay, so I'm just telling you this, guys. If I was the owner of the Edmonton Oilers, which has an incredible brand, has an incredible history, and you can't take that off the history books. It's there. It's like something on Google. It lasts forever, right? On there. It's you need to blow that team completely up, and you need to bring some serious people in. You need, just like they did in Pulp Fiction, you need to bring the fixer in. And the fixer in Pulp Fiction was Harvey Keitel.